Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today my topic is all about fault systems. You heard about earthquakes, but have you heard about fault systems? Fault systems are cracks in our earth, and they can have movement, and when a sudden fold of movement comes, it's called an earthquake. First, I'm going to talk about the difference between a fault and a joint. As you know, faults are cracks in the earth. But faults show signs of movements, like there's scratches or there's a pattern that's raking against it. Joints are just simple cracks in the earth, but they haven't moved in a while, or they don't have any signs of movement. This is how you can tell if it's a difference between fault or joint. Now let's test. Do you think this is a fault or joint? If you said fault, you are correct, because if you can see very closely, there are scratch marks on it. Now I'm going to talk about how scientists measure earthquakes or folds of energy made by faults. Scientists measure them using seismographs and the Richter scale. The Richter scale was invented by Charles Richter, and every increase of energy, it increases the number, and it's on a scale through 1 to 10. Seismographs are machines that measure the ground movement. For example, this is what it looks like. There's a pen, and it's linked to a machine that's attached to a fault line, and whenever it moves, the pen moves too. The highest scale recorded on the Richter scale was a Chilean earthquake, and it measured about 9.5 on the Richter scale. Now scientists measure earthquakes combining two things. One is the seismograph, which measures the ground movement, and there's also a moment magnitude scale, which measures the rock movement. This is a fault line separating the Eurasian and American plates. This is the big crack that goes all around that island, and there can be earthquakes if the fault line suddenly releases a lot of energy. As you can see, these houses are endangered because if there was an earthquake, these houses would be most affected by it. Now, moving on to types of faults. When a fault moves, there can be different types and ways it moves. One is the dip fault. The dip fault goes vertical, so if these were the two cracks, one goes up and one goes down, and then they switch. A dip fault is one that goes horizontal, and a dip slip fault is the one that goes vertical. So these are examples. This is the dip slip fault, and the dip slip fault goes up and down. And when it reverses, it's called a reverse dip slip fault. Now, a dip fault is just horizontal, and so it moves side to side. As you can see, this river separates because the fault moves. When the fault moves, it goes in different directions. Now, there's something special about these two forces combined. When a dip fault combines with a dip slip fault, they form a diagonal pull. This is called an oblique slip fault, shown in this picture. The forces of up and sideways combine together to make a diagonal. So that's why when this kind of fault shakes, it goes diagonal instead of straight up or straight sideways. Moving on, I'm going to talk about earthquakes. There are different types of earthquakes that faults can have. They can have minor shaking or major shaking. This shows a radar image of a fault line. This fault line is this tiny black line, and this radar image shows how much damage it made. The closer and compacted the waves are, the more damage it has. Even though these waves look bigger than these tiny ones, the tiny ones have more damage because it goes in really fast and there's a lot of them. Faults usually creep, and creeping means that it slowly moves side to side, but this is normal. But a sudden fold of energy that comes out of it is called an earthquake. The most earthquakes have been found on the Pacific Plate, and the Pacific Plate is a ring that has a lot of earthquakes, and this is probably because it's surrounded by ocean, and that's the place where there's the most earthquakes. Thank you for listening. Earthquakes and fault lines have a lot to do. I never heard of fault systems until I researched about this project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like and subscribe to my